Piston's rocking back and forth. That one's a little bit less. And the pistons all have just a little bit of rock to them. So, yeah, she's going to need pistons. All right, so I'm working on tearing down the LS motor I got there. And this one had active fuel management. You can see it's got the special lifters with the springs on them. And the plate here on the back side has, you've got a connector that comes down and feeds wire or feeds electricity to these solenoids to shut oil on and off to the active fuel management. It was a good try. It's probably the best try GM has had so far at this active fuel management. You know, I'm old enough to remember the 468 Cadillac active fuel management from the 60s and how terrible it was. This was an improvement, but it's still not what we need. Especially if you're going to be building an engine up for anything other than just, you know, tooling down the road cruising. You want to get rid of these. So these are the other 8 roller lifters. All 8 roller lifters came out in good shape. The camshaft looks beautiful on this engine. Everything looks good, and there was not an active fuel management issue, but I'm getting rid of these on the front end. These roller lifters here, the non-AFM roller lifters, are the exact same roller lifters they used in the Vortec 350s. They call them LS7 lifters when you try to order them online. The part number is the same. So get you a set of these, a full set of brand new lifters if you're building an engine. I'm going to put a full set of new valve springs. These are the LS2, LS6 valve springs that are in this. They're a beehive valve spring. They're good, they're reliable. I'm going to buy a whole set of stock valve springs for this motor. I'm not going to reuse my valve springs. Do not reuse valve springs. If you have a valve spring fail, the valve drops and it hits the piston, it trashes your motor. Every time you rebuild a motor, replace your valve springs. Just go ahead and get it done. Buy quality valve springs, do it. Could you get away with reusing valve springs? Oh yeah, and there's lots of motors out there that have survived without them, without putting new springs in. But you definitely want to put new springs in if you can afford it. So the bottom end of the motor I started pulling apart, and the bearings are looking absolutely amazing. There was no play on any of the rods. They were all nice and tight. The pistons rock. I've got to get that taken care of. I'll probably have to have the block board and get new pistons. I really don't want to do that, but it is what it is. I had to order a balancer puller. I don't have the LS specific balancer puller that they have, so I can't get any further on pulling I can pull the rods and pistons out, but the crank and all that, I could unbolt the covers and weasel it out, but I'm going to wait and get the proper puller so I can pull this off. And I need to take the flex plate off the back end, and then I can pull the crank out and go over it. But mainly I wanted to show you this. These valve guide trays, they're plastic. I'm going to throw these away and put a new set in. These are in good shape, but it's one of those things where if these fail in your motor, you have all these plastic shards going everywhere, your lifters aren't as secure anymore. I want new lifter guides, so I'm going to put new lifter guides in it. Oh my, so much oil in the intake. So yeah, the piston's rocking in this engine. The PCV system was working overtime just to keep this engine running. There's oil all inside the intake on this. So I'm taking the intake apart right now so that I can take it to out front and put it on the pressure washer and clean it up. We're going to try to use this intake. I'm going to try to take everything I can off the top to lower it, but you know, stuff like this, I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to get that to, you know, we're going to try putting it in a place where we don't have a whole lot of room on top. So that sensor is going to be our problem. But if we can get away with using this intake cheap instead of buying something, that's what we want to do. So anyways, but yeah, oil all in this thing. All right, so I'm sitting here working away on this LS engine, and I realized I hadn't shown you all any of this about how to take this apart, and I probably should shoot some video. I'm on the last piston, so, you know, better late than never, right? So this is how I typically go about pulling engines apart, and I did break these loose with a breakover bar, and they came loose like all the rest of them, nice and easy. And I'm not taking them out by hand like some people recommend. So if you notice, I'm zipping the bolts back, but I'm not taking them out yet. You split the rod apart with a light tap from a dead blow hammer. Finish zipping that main cap off. Or not main cap, rod cap. Set it over here on my table. Now I'm going to spin the crankshaft to drive that piston down to the bottom and bring it back up. And you want to catch the piston. You don't want it falling to the floor. So I just used the butt end of my dead blow hammer and I pushed it out. So I've got the piston out. So now over here on my cart, I'm going to take the bearing cap out, or the bearing out of the cap. Clean off the bearing. All these bearings I'm seeing a little bit of scoring in. Other than that, I mean, there was no play in the rods. Everything was nice and smooth and tight. If I were building a no-dollar engine, I wouldn't have a problem reusing these bearings, even if they have scoring. But I'm not building a no-dollar engine. I'm building an engine that we're going to race, and so I want to make sure it's in good shape. So I'm going to clean this off. Now, if you've never really looked at these rod caps, you may have heard about these rod caps being cracked at the factory, and basically what it is when they build these caps, there's a line on one side so you know which way it goes. When they put these caps together, they have a fixture that they put them in, and it breaks them apart. And so whenever you go back together, you can see how this cap here, this side of the cap kind of tilts upward, and this one has kind of a rainbow to it. That's how you can tell it's a cracked cap. It's not a perfectly the same meeting surface every time. They're all unique, but that gives them a better grip. Whenever you bolt them down, the rod cap can't walk on the rest of the rod. It's held in place by that rough surface from it being broken apart. That's what makes these actually a better rod than the old style. So now that I've got that done, I'm going to pull the rings out. And it's just a matter of finding the ends. Oil rings are hard to find. There's one. There's the other. Oh, didn't quite get it out. Now take your little pocket screwdriver, and you can get the little spring out of the middle. And so now I'm going to get my fixture for knocking the pin out. All right, I'm also marking everything as I pull them apart. I'll mark the rod last. I still have the number 7 in here. Put number 7 up and get number 8 ready. Okay, so for the pins, these are a floating pin. Now, if you've ever dealt with the old style pressed fit pins, you can't do those at your house, not very easily anyways. You're pretty much going to rely on a machine shop to do it for you. But with these floating pins, you just pop that little snap ring out. You see there's a notch on either side. You look for whichever side is closer to the end of the clip. And you're going to stick the screwdriver behind the clip and just pry it out. And once you have that done, the piston's ready to come off the rod. So I've got my 14mm socket here. I've got my hammer. Now, if you're wanting to reuse the pistons, which I'm not, you're going to want to be a lot more careful how you do this. These pistons are, I've got piston slap. There was so much oil in the intake that there's blow by, and from what I understand, it's because the pistons and the bores wear differently and you get blow by. I'm going to have this bored, and I'm going to have to get new pistons that are oversized, so I'm not really worrying about reusing these pistons. That said, I'm still going to try to do it right. Okay, drop my socket out. There you go, piston's off. Okay, so now let's get the rod and let's mark it. I'm going to mark it on, there's this side where the line's drawn. I'm marking them all on the other side because there's more room there. All right, so to mark these, I've got my block of wood here. I've got another block of wood that holds the other end. I'm going to run this cap down all the way so it doesn't wobble on me while I'm doing this. You have to be sure and strike very forcefully, and you have to aim very well so that you don't hit the rod. So you get your number. That's the number 8. This way has it facing up. When I hold this, use a vice grip to hold these. You don't want to smack your hand, it hurts. Ask me how I know. Okay, so I'm actually going to push down this hard enough that it's coming up off this back piece of wood, and I'm going to hit it once very securely, and as you can see, it still spit the marker out, but I've got a nice 8 there, so it marked it good before it sprung loose. I'm going to have to tighten this up a little bit. That was obviously not tight enough for holding that. I thought I had it pretty tight, but not tight enough. And I'm double checking, make sure I've got it up right. One secure hit. There we go. So that is marked, and there we go, all 8 rods done. All right, so I just got done extracting the barbell out of the back of the engine. If you're not familiar with these, this goes right here. The engine's upside down, so this is to the left of the crankshaft. And this little plastic barbell from the factory, if you're rebuilding your engine, you want to at least replace the O-ring. But honestly, these plastic ones, throw them away. So to get it out, they talk about getting a pick behind it and pulling it forward until you can get a pair of pliers on it. I have this plug out, and I have a pair of hemostats here. This is what your surgeon uses. I have these so that I can get bolts out of places, whatever. They lock so that you can grip stuff. I basically put these in as far on the right side as I could, gripped the barbell, shoved it forward, released it, pulled it out, went back in, and I worked it about 3 times before I got it out far enough that I was able to grip it with the Nipex pliers. The Nipex pliers, I just got a hold of it and pulled it out. So that's how you get those out if your pick isn't getting it.